shot with a rest spot, shot with a rest spot, shot with a rest spot.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounce is back.
Stop playing with them riders. You thought I was feeling you? No. That munch. Either he ate it for lunch. My body, I get what I want. Like you thought I was feeling you? No, I was feeling you. That munch. Either he ate it for lunch. My body, I get what I want. Like same balance, keep it a beam. Know they be mad, I be on the scene. Too fat, can't fit in a jean. Use my steps, but it's not what it seems. I got that ready, I'm keeping it clean. Going that's toting a beam. Saying you love me, but what do you mean? Pretty ass fucking me like that I mean.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you're feeling us. I know you are because you're locked in. Shout out to Andy. Themed up already. You'll know soon. We'll get into that. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I am your host, Jill Munroe. Thank you for locking in on a Thursday. And as always, we have a lot to get into tonight. So I hope that you are relaxed, chilling, ready to get into some things. Let me give you a rundown of tonight's show. Well, wait, actually, before I do that, let me remind you, if you're not already following us on social media, hit us up, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill everywhere. Follow me, hit me, say hi. We can have a little conversation there. If you got some information you want to share, but better than that, hit the hotline, 800-920-1580. At any point during any time during these 3 hours of conversation, you want to share your opinion. We love to hear it. Lock in. Also download the app. Take us with you on the go. So tonight, we're going to get into some things. Now, you heard me reference that Andy was on theme. So Ice Spice. She seemed to blow up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden she's everywhere on hot tracks, BFFs with Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj. But she says that although it appears to be unity in female rap, there is none. So we're going to talk about that, get into that. We're also going to talk about Snoop Dogg. He says that he doesn't drink any of the alcohol brands that he promotes. Not any of them. And that all the brands know. Is that fair to the consumer? We're going to get into that. Rick Fox, former Laker, actor, 6'6", I think he's from the Bahamas, right? Yeah. Rick kind of shot his shot at an Instagram popular girl today. We're going to talk about that. It relates to something that we've talked about recently. It's kind of interesting because, it's kind of interesting. We'll get into that later. We're also going to talk about, speaking of, ladies that came up from Instagram, Drea Michelle, she gave up her plastic surgery secrets. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about a fake New York restaurant that went viral. We're going to talk about how far people go to clout chase and how this fake restaurant ended up with real customers. We're also going to get into, last night we had an interesting topic on the Mrs. Degree and Ebony K. Williams. And these topics surrounding Ebony and Tyler Perry and others, extensions, long lost children of Kevin Samuels topics, however you want to think of them as, they have a hold on social media. But in talking to Trent the artist, Trent Jackson, he's here by the way tonight, contributing for night 2 and for good reason, because we're going to discuss in hour 3 who's allowed to give black women advice. Nobody seems to have the answer, right, when they speak on their opinion. So we're going to get into that. And do we need advice? Are we looking for it? We're going to talk about all of that. But you know how this is. Before we get into those topics, we have a couple of conversation starters, just some things that are bubbling around social media that, I think you might want to know about. So first up, Tom Brady, this is his first year out of the league, and he's busy doing various things, taking ownership, not coming to Fox FS1 as a commentator. But what he is working on is a biopic. So they are developing a scripted limited series titled The Patriot Way about the QB following his rise from a 6th-round NFL draft pick to the global superstar who led the New England Patriots to 9 Super Bowls, winning 6. So it's also going to cover the Aaron Hernandez era, a little bit of that, Spygate, Deflategate, and controversies around, his, I don't want to call it beef, but his, what do you want to call it? Little tiffs with his former head coach, Bill Belichick. So it's being developed by the people that wrote The Fighter, which was a 2018 biopic about a boxer that starred Mark Wahlberg. And they also wrote Patriots Day, which also starred Mark Wahlberg. So you get the theme here. We might see Mark Wahlberg in the Tom Brady limited scripted series. So are you interested? I find it interesting that they're going to be including the Aaron Hernandez aspect because he was there during Super Bowl win, obviously, but were he and Tom close? I guess we'll see. I guess we're going to uncover some things. I think that'll be pretty interesting. We'll check that out. Now, I mentioned to you about this fake restaurant. This is crazy. So these guys, roommates, got together, right? And as a joke, they named and landmarked their home in Google Maps, their apartment, Marin Steakhouse. Marin is the name of one of their roommates, and he used to always cook for them. And so the joke grew. They started leaving Google reviews on Yelp. So then people started responding, trying to get on the list for Marin Steakhouse, which is really just their apartment and their roommate who isn't a chef, but just cooks for them, right? When we come forward, we'll tell you how they spoofed a number of New York diners to pull off a one-day dinner that had people paying and lined up to come check it out. Listen, the pursuit of clout, the pursuit to be seen and have those social media moments is heavy. We'll get into that. And of course, all of our trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. On low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And as I said, I am not alone tonight. I have our contributor back because, you guys appreciate his keep it real friend takes, especially as they relate to these celebrity relationship topics that we seem to find ourselves getting into and buzzing around social media. Welcome back for night 2, Trent Jackson, Trent the artist.
Thank you. I love coming here. It's so fun.
It's fun?
Yeah, it is.
So listen, you like fine dining, right?
I do like fine dining.
Okay, so
yes.
If there was a steakhouse with a wait list for over a year and suddenly...
I don't have that kind of time.
Okay.
Off rip, I don't have that kind of time.
But suddenly reservations opened up and they emailed you like, you can come this night. Would you come?
Sure. I mean, if I had already just been on a list and they were like randomly called me up and was like, oh, we've got an opening for you. Come through, Trent Jackson. Yeah, I'm going to come because I ain't doing nothing else. As long as it's not on a Wednesday night or a possible Thursday night, then,
Got you. Okay, so, this is what happened, right? So I told you how
That was a very ingenious idea, by the way. They have to be like 22-year-olds or something young like that.
They're very young.
Yes, I knew it.
So they had put as a joke their apartment on Yelp and were reviewing it and such. And like I said, people put themselves on the list. So they went far to pull this prank off.
Yeah.
They got a 1-day liquor license. They got food handling permits. They rented a space. They had a kitchen staff with college students who had never worked in a restaurant before. They weren't being paid for it. And they got the event space in Manhattan. The master chef was their 21-year-old roommate, Moran, the one who just cooks for his friends. New York Times food writer Becky Hughes.
Wow, this is huge.
Yeah.
They got the, wow.
Was excited to get the invite to the restaurant, but she said she quickly realized what's going on. So at the event space, they described the $144 main entree as a bovine circle of life, better known as steak and potatoes. The simple salad also came with a fancy name, Oregon Synergies. Okay.
Iceberg lettuce? Or was this arugula? Like, what are we eating here?
It's just a basic salad. I'm not sure. So they decorated the inside of the space. They put up fake menus from the restaurant from past times around. They had their friends come outside and hold up posters like Drake was supposed to be there. They had a fake proposal happen in the middle of it. All of this.
I love it. I love all of this.
Just to prank the people.
I love all of this, and I wish that my friends and I had been that ingenious in college, because I was the friend cooking in college on campus apartments, for everybody. So that was and I got paid for it sometimes, but that would have been even better to pull that off in a DC restaurant week. God, I wish I was that creative in that sense.
No word on what they did with the money, if they kept the money
Don't
or
matter.
if but they, they pulled it off and
I love
managed to make it across all of the things. There's
I'm not
a
even
TikTok.
mad.
There's a whole TikTok that's documenting all of it, and it's gone viral. And of course, it's been written about in various areas.
So how do people feel about this though? The people, the patrons, and
that wasn't covered yet, but I'm sure some of them were pretty upset. I mean, they had a waiter walking around with a gallon of milk claiming that it was from a cow from Uganda.
Nope.
And
I love it though, because that is so extra.
And one of the guys, like, they really should, this should be a movie. Someone should be scripting this right now for a film or a documentary. And then, like, one of the guys that was, like, I guess their head waiter for the evening, he never opened a bottle of champagne before. So he struggled each and every time opening the wine or the champagne for the guests.
See, this is why we have to start getting these kids off the phone and calling them into the kitchen and forcing them to learn small things like this, because you should know simple things like, and everyone, we had to learn stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Had to open a bottle of wine. I don't know.
I went to charm school.
Research on encyclopedia. But you know how to open it. Stop playing. Cut it out.
I'm saying,
come
but
on.
I went at 10. I'm saying I learned that stuff at 10.
Yeah, so it's like we were forced to learn that. Get these kids off these phones and force them into the kitchen, for the love of God, please.
Fahima in the chat says, I know these were white people because black people keep it real in NYC. However, everyone is on their grind with the hustle. I know that's right.
It was white kids.
They were, and something else. Yeah. And I think she's talking about the patrons as well.
Sure.
There was a mix, but yeah, predominantly. It was crazy to me. I thought that was crazy ingenious, the fact that they went that far and were smart enough to cover themselves legally so that they wouldn't get in trouble for having food and alcohol.
It was
or
well
whatever.
thought out.
Yeah. Although they could have just said they were giving away a free meal, but I'm sure they utilized that money for something, and that way they could have served food and alcohol without the permits. But I don't know what New York's laws are, so let me not say that. At any rate, let's get into some things. So, interestingly enough, right, we know Offset's released a third single from his album. We know that Nicki Minaj and Cardi have been having their shots, their little subs to each other, right? So Offset's single did not make it into the top 100, I think, singles. It's in the bubbling under heat seeking. I can't remember what that chart is called, but it's not charting well. It's not doing well, right? And we know that this whole album promo rollout has been around Michael Jackson. So Nicki posted a series of photos of Michael and Janet and then herself laughing and was like, after all that, child, and, a hace frio emoji, right? That means cold in Spanish. So why is she still subbing her? And I find it ironic that she's doing this as the topic that we're going to get into tonight. Ice Spice is discussing how women in the industry talk that unity stuff, but are really bees behind the scenes. But she counts Nicki as one of her closest friends in the industry. So is it just a matter of, I got to pick a side and click up? And this one picked me first, so this is where I'm landing because you need cover and protection. And 2, we're going to get into what Ice said, but do you think it is possible to have real unity? Because she expanded on her thought, and I feel like people pushing for so much unity is a little overrated. But what are your thoughts?
I believe that some unity is achievable. But I think that what we, and I always default back to the 90s, because we had female rappers that were friends. We saw them on the red carpet.
Were they
we
all
saw
friends?
we saw them in pictures together. We saw them out and about, and it was like, oh, it kind of made sense. And not all of them, but some of them, they were friends at least, or were respectful and cordial with each other. There weren't as many beefs as there were now. There was, I can call off the top of my head two main beefs that we talked about in the 90s for a long time between rappers, and it was really female rappers. It was Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown. Who else beefed that you can like name, like for real off the top of your head?
I mean, maybe behind the scenes, maybe some things that people weren't sure. Because here's what I know, right? And this goes for, girl R&B groups too.
Though they were a little more treacherous.
I think it's one.
You know what?
There's always a man. There's always men. There's always something in the background. Two, I think that the idea, as much as we're pushing women's sports right now, right? The idea that women aren't slightly competitive is ridiculous. We are to a degree.
I think everybody's competitive in
across
a sense.
the board. Yeah.
But I also feel like that's the issue now. There is so much more insecurity and so much more vying for a spot that people can't unify because they feel like if they did, they would lose their position.
But there's more spots open than there were back in the time. There's definitely more areas because you think about this, right?
I don't think there's enough spots. I think that's a mirage. I don't think
Let me
it's
tell
real.
you why. Because in the 90s and early 2000s, there was a female rap artist always had to be introduced by a male crew. Lil' Kim, Junior Mafia, Biggie. Foxy came from The Firm, Jay, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eve came from Rough Riders, et cetera, et cetera. No, Trina was a part of Trick Daddy and so forth, and like that. No female was outstanding on her own. We've kind of moved away from that now. I also think that you think about, we had like ladies' night and stuff like, yes, I'm going back to that. But look at who was on that track. Missy, Left Eye, right? Lil' Kim, and I'm leaving somebody off. Angie Martinez,
She
who probably
really don't
shouldn't have been.
count.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Angie, radio legend. No
Right.
shade.
No shade
in
at
what
all.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You want a rapper.
And yeah, it was something to do. And I'm not mad at you for doing it. Give me the opportunity, I would have done the same. Oh, I got bars. Let's hit it.
Yeah, it was cool. For what it was
For
worth.
what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Andy?
Let's not disrespect Angie Martinez.
I'm not at all.
We're not. It was just like,
I just said she's a radio legend.
Radio legend.
I said all of that. I said no disrespect. I am talking about Angie Martinez, the rapper.
Man, she
and
was
I'm
dope as
sure.
hell. What you talking about?
Here's the thing. I'm sure she will agree because has she done that again?
But did she come out? Did she ever come out with a single?
Yeah, she
after
had
that?
a whole album.
I don't even remember.
No,
that.
she had singles.
Okay.
She had a whole album, videos.
Them
no,
things.
It was a run. It was that was the early 2000s. I remember.
Yeah, so
I don't think anyone
But
else
Angie
does.
is a radio. She's a radio legend. Nice, thorough. You know what I mean? Great interviews. The Brat.
Urban
Shout out to
Spinster.
Urban
Yep.
Spinster coming through. I knew I was forgetting somebody. All different flavors doing their thing. So that's why, I think now there's much more space. We've talked about it. There's room for partying. There's different types. I mean, now granted, they're all little carbon copies in some way of the same idea, but I think there's more room and more acceptance for more females out there. But I do think because of the Nicki Cardi beef, and I think because Nicki was running the 2000s from 2007, 2008 to about 2017 when Cardi started picking up steam, there were other rappers out then, but it was really about Nicki. And again, bar for bar, Nicki, there's not many that can hang with her, but she's never been a girl's girl. And I'm
she
not
made that clear from the start.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she hasn't hopped on tracks with people or whatever, but I just found it interesting that Ice Spice counts her as, well, this is what she said, because I think this is important. Well, first, this is what Taylor Swift had to say about Ice Spice, which I thought was interesting too. I relate to Ice in many ways. I think her dedication and focus is what blew me away from the very start. She's extremely professional without being cold, playful and fun without ever taking her eye off the prize. And I thought that was interesting, and I understood what Taylor meant. It meant that it wasn't an intimidating thing. It wasn't an icy thing. It wasn't an isolating thing. It was let's be friends energy, you know? Not maybe what, you know, like you think Nicki and Mariah on American Idol. Maybe not that energy. You know, so
I'm just trying to figure out who made Taylor Swift the approval department for these people.
She's not, but Ice Spice counts her as one of her good friends.
If Taylor Swift walks in, Taylor Swift is out here buying out restaurants and saying, "Get out! I'm gonna pay for your food, but get out."
Yeah,
it's like
that's what celebrities can do.
I guess
that's not just a Taylor thing. So here's what Ice said about competition, which I do respect. It is a competition at the end of the day. People want to be all, I'm a girl's girl, but behind the scenes being bees. Basically, we're here. We hear the girls are doing amazing. I'm excited to see it. I feel like the competition is what keeps us all excited because I think we all secretly enjoy competing and seeing who puts that stuff on better and who's going to get the most views. I can be transparent, and I know competition is checking on me too. That's why it's okay to say that, because it's like, yeah, girl, I'm watching you, and I know you're watching me. And the boys are watching too because they are secretly haters. But see, she gives that girl energy, even though she's being open about, yeah, we're competing, but it's what it is. I respect that in a way because I don't respect being icy and isolating. You know, we're all trying to be in the same space, and it doesn't have to be only one. I understand that that's a lot of times how people are pitted against one another. But I also recognize that, you know, it's a competition too, and we're acknowledging that. I might be peeping over there at you because any good business person is aware of what's going on with
for sure
competition. So I don't know.
I don't pay attention to competition at all. Really, it's like I know it's there, but it's like you could be cool, but you don't have to be nasty. And it's people. I don't know. Whatever. I just mind my business and try not to talk too much.
Crystal Wade says, Nicki is cool, but she definitely repeats her bars in the songs a lot. Just an observation. Carrie Webb said, I just learned who this Ice Spice person is. Thank you, Trent, for the education. And also
I love it. Shout out to
says,
Carrie.
what about Lauryn Hill back in the day? Lauryn is a different example. We can talk about that a little bit on the other side. When we come forward, we'll get more into Ice Spice, female unity, and hip-hop, and, of course, more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
He jacking me, but he not my boo. He like the jewelry I wear on my boobs. How can I link you when I got a shoe? Don't want your love, I just want the blue. Grabbing my while I'm doing my dance. She keep on staring cause shorty a fan. Damn, gotta stick to the plan. He mad as fuck, I won't give him a chance. But still he gon' do what I say. I swear I be stuck in my ways. But still he gon' do what I say. I swear I be stuck in my ways. You thought I was feeling you? That munch. Either he ate it for lunch. My body, I get what I want. Like you thought I was feeling you? That munch. Either he ate it for lunch. My body, I get what I want. Like.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. House Republicans held their first meeting in their impeachment investigation of President Biden. Republicans are looking into whether the president improperly profited off of his son Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings while vice president. The Biden administration has denied that claim. Meantime, President Biden is calling out Donald Trump as a threat to democracy. In a speech honoring the late Senator John McCain in Arizona, Biden said the former president is not guided by the Constitution, but by vengeance and vindictiveness. He warned that the so-called MAGA movement doesn't share the basic beliefs of democracy, which he says is at risk. And travelers are keeping an eye on how a looming federal government shutdown could affect flights. Congress has until Saturday to reach a deal to avoid the shutdown. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 five-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounce is back.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer, and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Evil in the air, I can feel it. It's prophecy cooking in my head like a skillet. The streets saying talk to him. Hope them listen. Cause you iced out your cross. Now that don't make you a Christian. The Lord be talking through me, but that don't make me a prophet. Mom, them fold them, cut the lights off. We need a socket. They try and get a boat. About to sell another 12 months of quarantine. Going broke. Can't even lie to you. With government. They be thinking sweet. With government. Y'all ain't got no evidence.
I think this might be the second time in a week. I have no idea who this is, Andy. Is that Jeezy? I never heard this song before, though. Shout out to Jeezy.
And his birthday?
I figured as much. I knew it was somewhere around here.
That's one of them B cuts off of the Recession 2, his latest album.
Okay. That's why I have not checked that out. Shout out to Jeezy.
That has to be horrible to be going through a divorce on your birthday.
Is he? Because he was wearing his ring last weekend. Maybe they're going to work it out. Maybe. We'll have to see. Those Lieberman. Okay, so Jeezy, T.I., Snoop, Nick Cannon, Weezy. Yeah. Lieberman are interesting.
Do we name Snoop too?
Yeah, I did name Snoop.
All right.
Listen. So the chat is still lit, as always. And there are questions about, listen, what about Moni Love, conscious female rappers? Now it's about who's the sexiest, or should I say provocateurs. Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, where are the conscious women rappers? Who's looking to? I think there are some, like, I don't know if you would call it conscious women rappers, and I don't know if I would call, like, MC Lyte a conscious woman rapper, or even Moni Love. I don't think that was kind of their beat or their vibe. I think they were just being at the time, you know? Mm-hmm. I think, but if you think about, like, a Tierra Whack, hate to throw her name up here when we're talking serious stuff, you know, but respect due. She doesn't like when we do that either. Rhapsody. But, you know, you can go in that thing. I think that they're out there. I think that they present some music. I think there are different genres. Rico Nasty isn't just P-rap and all of that, but, you know, she's vulgar. I think that there's areas, but right now, I think if we look at the culture of social media and the growth and the rise of social media vixens and the Kardashians' lifestyle over these past 10 to 15 years, for young women, the dream is about having disposable income at the hands of a young baller and, you know, living the life. City girls up 200, hot girl summer, whatever you want to frame it as such. And in their own way, they are speaking a gospel, an instruction manual, right? Play him before he plays you. This is how you get the fun.
And they're creating a generation of people who will be single, lonely, and broke.
Do you think that is the only reason why?
Music influences people's thinking more ways, and we learned that in They Clone Tyrone.
Andy?
Shout out to Melina Abdullah, host of This Is Not a Drill, every Saturday here from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., excuse me. She was my professor in college, one of my most favorite classes that I've ever took. It was a Pan-African Studies class, and the emphasis was hip-hop as a political expression. So, you know, the conversation about conscious rap, if people don't like that, what it is hip-hop lost its political expression. Okay. Right? So if you think about a lot of the music that, you know, started off with hip-hop, there was a lot of political expression. We talked about community stuff. We talked about how, you know, police brutality. That's what's missing today. You know what I mean?
But is it because we've moved away from community as a whole? Like hip-hop, Because
The
being clear,
gatekeepers, that's who to blame. Not the rappers themselves.
not the rappers, the gatekeepers.
It's the industry. The industry, they know what they're doing. This is deeper than what we
Do
think
you
it is.
think so? Because I feel like, too, and I always go back to this, I feel you on the industry, but I also know they're going to chase a check. And if all the kids are zooming this way, they're going to zoom that way, too, right? Because that's where the dollars lie. Or try and find their best duplicate of that.
But who controls the check, though? It's the industry.
But I feel like even still, I mean, we know
So
it's
they
still
know
expensive.
they know what they're
No,
doing.
what I'm saying is, with the internet that took out, that's part of why the gatekeepers lost their way too, because they had no more control. You could put something on TikTok and it is more influential than some stuff you're putting out as far as these artists on music. Listen, I don't know if you saw this video. It was these like 3 or 4 little Latina sisters, and they were going through this thing because one wanted bangs and they accidentally cut it, and they were trying to get from their mom. It was a cute little thing. But I bring this up because when the daughter was trying to figure out how to fix it, she didn't say, let me go Google how to cut bangs. She went to TikTok. Do you understand? TikTok is their educator, their advice maker. People go to TikTok in their age group for instruction, for advice, for information more than they're going to Google or these other things. So that's why I ask. I'm not denying music has an influence or the influence that it has to a degree. I'm just saying, is it still the number one thing? We see these stream sales are down. We see this music isn't moving. And that is why so many of these artists who are halfway in seem to have their hand in everything. Not just because it's a smart business move to try and diversify, but because they're not passionate and they're trying to make money off of anything. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Forensic accountant brought up Bahamadima. She was conscious and Nonchalant was conscious. 5 o'clock in the morning. I remember Nonchalant, but how many hits did she have? Being for real. This is no shade. This isn't disrespecting her craft or whatever. This is just saying, what did the audience do? Because ultimately it's up to them. So if you're telling me that if they push Nonchalant or someone like her super, super hard, everybody would fall in line, why haven't they?
Did she get to push hard?
I mean, she didn't. I'm just saying in general, though, at this point in time, if somebody wants to counter, right? We can only carbon copy and mess up so many times before somebody tries to flip it and counter. So I'm saying, why hasn't somebody dropped big money behind the counter? You're saying that it is because they want to keep us dumb. I'm saying I think that they don't care as long as it makes money. There may not be multiple of them, but if they can make $1 off of it, they're going to do it. And if it gives them something different, a slight edge, they're going to do it. And I think the biggest issue, and that we have to realize and overcome why we're still having these conversations like we're going to have in the third hour, is that sometimes we are our own worst enemy and we don't always want the higher thing. It just sounds good. Trent, no, nothing?
You know, I always feel that people, artists, can control the narrative if it's done the right way, and you don't have to really succumb to what everybody else is doing. That's just my theory. I'm a living testament of that. You know what I'm saying? I stuck true to who I was and what I want to do, and you know, I'm not where I want to be at, but I'm successful at what I do, right? I think that when people, certain artists, do start doing things for a check, they start chasing the check, they just start going along with trends, and they lose their individuality. And I think that's what we see time and time again.
When we come forward, we will have more on this topic. There is some commentary in the chat that we want to address. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's a good question.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes times we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we're talking, female rep unity, what does success look like? And there was a great question posed in the chat by Pretty Brown Mimi. She said, are you saying if you're not mainstream, you're not a successful artist? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if mainstream success is the goal and there are certain areas that you want to hit and target and you're looking at what is getting the most exposure, then there's certain areas that you look at. Which you listen to. I think that we have gotten over the past 20 years or so really into the numbers as consumers. What's number one? What movie's number one? What are they saying about it on social media? And I feel like that has, for some, tampered their experience. Dampened their experience and sort of tampered with how they organically feel about some things. People don't sit with music anymore. They kind of breeze through it so that they can riff off a comment on social media. So in that regard, I feel like, look, we all, have different things that bring us pleasure. We all have different things that we like. But there is a standard for mainstream success. There is a standard for success overall. We can color outside the lines, and it doesn't mean that you aren't successful. But if you're looking for success in certain arena, there are criteria for it. And there are things that sort of summarize that and fit into what makes things good. Adam Milan says, you got to start somewhere always. Forensic Accountant says, an ignorant populace doesn't detract from true artistry. The music remains for those that appreciate it. And I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. Pretty Brown Mimi also says, can you be an underground artist and be considered a successful artist? I believe so.
Yes.
And I believe so as well, 100%. Of course, there's several. It's just your goals are different, what you're looking for, the type of shows that you're going to maybe want to do, the type of projects you're going to be involved in might be different from someone that is seeking a different type of success, a different type of exposure level. So I don't think that it, dampens you as an artist, but they're just some things, everybody's not going to be number one. As everyone's fond of saying, just like every woman's not going to get the big prize.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I'm just playing. I'm just getting into it early. But, I mean, I think it's just the reality of it. And we have to be comfortable in that. I think it's okay. That's part of it. Does everybody have to be superstar level? I don't think so.
No.
And I don't think everybody necessarily qualifies, but it doesn't mean that they aren't talented or they aren't.
And I don't
doing
even
their
think
thing.
people even want to be that. And I think that's part of the problem. I think so many people are chasing this big viral, social moment instead of just being an individual and being who they are and letting the audience, come to you and what you do. And I think like with Forensic Accountant, like it clicks for me in my head, because if you just be original and be yourself, everything else is going to fall into place. That's just it. Be who you are. Be genuine. Don't chase the check and don't follow the crowd. You have a much better time.
I know that's right. Well, speaking of not chasing checks any longer and making changes to their life, Black China has announced, Angela White, that she has fallen in love. She and her new boyfriend, who is a songwriter and a rapper, Derek Milano, released a statement saying, they always say, don't go looking for love. Let love find you. In this case, love found us. I know that might sound cliche, but hey, it bees like that sometimes. And they say the best thing about their relationship is the friendship they built with one another. That after long talks, consistency, support, love, trust, and faith, they made their relationship what it is. And she added that God's timing is always right when it comes to love. You have to have faith in God and each other, but always God first. So being able to be around, you're not feeling this transformation of Angela. You don't believe that they look very happy.
Here's the thing. There are three things that just like, okay, girl. Number one, why are you making a press release in a joint statement? Girl, it's your boyfriend.
Because people are interested.
It's not your husband.
I agree.
Scratch the joint statement.
But people are interested.
Keep it. They could be interested all they want to, but you need to keep it under wraps. How long has she been knowing this man? How long they been friends?
Listen.
And I get it
that quickly.
But people throw around that word friendship too loosely. Okay.
But they said that God is the center of it.
I love all of that, and God can be the center of it. But God is also not telling you to go release a statement, a joint statement to this man that's not your husband, and tell everybody your business. Sit down, be quiet, enjoy your friendship, enjoy your relationship in peace and quiet. Because guess what? When this turns into a Rob Kardashian situation, you're gonna be mad, and you're gonna be saying all kind of crazy stuff, and then Tokyo Tony gonna flare up, and it's gonna be some issues. Just enjoy your relationship. Be quiet. And go pray somewhere and enjoy your campaign of I don't have these fillers in my face no more, and just chill. Sometimes people just need to chill and be quiet and enjoy the peace in their life.
All right. But I mean, here's the thing though, right? She does make her money from social media to an extent.
True.
And people are into her lifestyle. And they want to hear about the advancement and the changes and everything that she's overcome.
I get all that. And here's the thing. When you are rebranding yourself, and this is why I didn't really like the rebrand to begin with, because it just didn't. When you're doing stuff, you should just do it and like let everything else be seen. Let the actions be seen. You don't have to talk about everything because people are going to see it, and they're going to see it as what it is when they see it. You don't have to explain it. And I'm going to use myself as an example. People saw me go from doing my show every day to doing a Wednesday night spot on the station. I didn't make a big fanfare. You're going to see it eventually, okay? People are going to be able to surmise and put two and two together without me having to explain anything. Let them see it.
I agree.
Post it.
Well, we'll
let them see it.
Happens.
You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain everything. And this whole rebrand is about her being aligned and centered. And part of being aligned and centered is knowing when to be quiet and just enjoy life.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Let somebody else have a turn.
With Angie, I mean, she is, but again, she has to make money. You know, she got.
And I'm not saying that she can't.
King Cairo.
But stop using your relationship as a means to make more money, because if it's getting kind of exploitive at this point.
Okay, but that's how we met her. I'm just saying.
Hasn't she learned from that though?
But perhaps. But isn't that why all the people are there through their ups and downs? They watched her go through the stuff with Tyga. They watched Tyga go through the stuff and leave her for Kylie. They've watched, her various dating, her admitting, I'm dating for money. Then her drama with Rob. That's part of it.
That is part of it, but she hasn't learned anything yet. Keep your relationships out of it so you can have a prosperous one, and maybe if you're quiet about it, it might bring you more money. You never know.
We'll see. The chat agrees with you.
Most people do. It might take them a little while, but I try to get an opinion that is of the normal thinking consensus. Like, we like you, we get it, but sometimes it's cool to fall back. We like a fallback sometimes and reemerge.
Well, she said that it is exciting and dominating. They have their career goals in line. As you know, I'm very involved with my career and vision.
Please go enjoy it in private.
Just as much as Derek is. When I win, we win. When he wins, we win.
The relationships are so much better in private when no one knows about it. Trust me on that.
So, well, we'll see what happens. She's saying that they are going to lead community by example.
But a press release for your boyfriend?
It's not. It's an article.
A joint statement with your boyfriend. Come on.
Some of that they're gleaming from Instagram.
It's boring.
Some of it's a thing.
Just have an Instagram story and make that be your announcement. Okay, move on. Order a pizza and have fun.
Ooh, so stinging.
Come on.
Andy says, who cares, man?
Thank you. I didn't want to say who cares,
Her
but
millions of followers
enjoy
care.
your relationship in peace, please, for the love of God.
When we come forward, we're going to get into Snoop Dogg admitting that he doesn't drink any, not one, not 19 Crimes that has his face on it, not those Coronas that you see.
That's how you make your money.
Any of the alcohol brands that he promotes.
Exploit yourself, not your relationship.
We're going to talk about Drea Michelle giving up her plastic surgery secrets. And, of course, more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
You ain't want it from the get. What the did you expect? Close your eyes. Don't get upset. Here go your stimulus. One job, baby.